So fine. You're a teacher by training, and you know how important this kind of thing is to teach. You talked about the fact of teaching the young people. Imagine yourself, if you can, we're 40 years after the Holocaust.
Yes.
Now let's talk about 40 years from now, in 2023 or something of this sort. Imagine that you had to teach young people about the Holocaust. You think it would be possible?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
What would you like to stress? For instance, if you were a teacher in 2023, and I'm your principal, I'm your headmaster.
Okay, I know that I was supposed to say hello.
Hello, hello.
I just told.
Yeah. This
We're
is my
husband's.
Yeah. So
Yes,
you are a
she said?
teacher. See, a husband professor. Well,
Yes.
that's already a
Yes.
coven.
Yeah.
Now,
I was professor of her husband.
now, I'm going to make myself your headmaster.
Okay.
And I say to you,
Paul,
Paul, you have to teach
special
this
class.
a special class. No, I want him to be a regular class.
Regular class.
And the subject is the Holocaust. Now that happened 80 years ago, right? Because I'm talking 40 years from now. What would you do?
Well, first of all, you have to prepare yourself what you want to tell the young people, and you find out first what group of children you are teaching, because dependent of the age of the students, you have to approach from different point of view. Now, when there are students, I would say, for example, in the public school between 6 and 10 years old, I will talk completely different. I will tell them a story. I will tell them about inhumanity meant to man. I will tell them that this type of period, what happened, you understand, going maybe even back in history, showing all the little things what happened, what lead to this particular period, and I will tell them, remember, this was very bad because somebody decided on his own to create a mass destruction of another race because the prejudice and the hatred forced him to do it. Now, the truth is a little bit different. Hitler pointed out the Jews for completely different point of view. He pointed on because he wants to take everything what they possess and have their money, and from the strictly point of economy for his particular purpose. He wants to grab the money and he have to find a special horse. And this, the Jews became his horse. And he said that they were responsible for everything what happened in Germany, and they have to be killed and destroyed, and we can take everything from them and do it.
the scapegoat. Huh?
Yeah, he need a scapegoat. But when I will talk to a children between, I will say, 13 and to the teenager, I will tell them a little bit more sophisticated way, much deeper way. Still telling them a story what I will pick up from book and story of survivor and show them some of those testimonies. When I will go to the higher level. Like
You feel, for instance, you feel, I hope, that say, showing your testimony will be of
yes,
help.
I think so will be.
Mm-hmm.
I think so that not only mine,
The
all
whole-
these little stories and the books,
Right.
and I will let them read it. They are beautiful books, experience of the children. When I will talk to a group with between 6 and 10 years, I will find out some drawings of children from a concentration camp, or their little story. In a older group, the teenager, I show them about the teenager who survived and show them the testimony of it, who was a teenager, like Sam Getz, who was a teenager. When I will go to a more sophisticated group, students of history, of psychology, of psychiatry, or general education, I will go more deeper with the details, with the statistic, with pictures, with everything, and then I give them the story as a people who witnesses and live through, and the testimony will give them around this information so that they can learn a lesson from it.
from the actual people.
You see, the little kids, I will tell them only what happened, so they know the history and the background. The group of teenagers, give them a little bit more sophisticated, but the most important group, in my opinion, is to educate the future educators, the future teachers, the future people who will carry on the ball and mention about this here. Like we have the history of Nero destroying the Christian during the period of his being in power, you see, but it's carrying on for 2,000 years. And then more pictures, more books, more films will be shown in the future. Now, when, for example, the story of Schindler is now, thanks to my influence, will be a documentation. While I impressed...
The BBC documentation.
Yeah, you're right. While I was, Thames Corporation is making for BBC. While I insisted, before even movie is made, to make documentation, because movie is a good entertainment type of things, maybe some lesson will come over from it. You understand? Documentation is a historical document based on a fact-finding expedition, and everything is documented exactly what happened.
In a scholarly way.
In a scholarly way. Interviewing survivors, interviewing the Polish people, interviewing the Germans who were participating during the party, and all from both sides of the fence. So this is more a document. Now when I will go with the children, I maybe will take them and show them the movie. Like we showed the movie The Last Ride from Auschwitz, when they take a group of little children and they gas them in a tank so that the little children could put themselves in a position how to feel to die. Because some of those children who went to the van inside knew they were be killed. Now how the teenager will react when when we will have testimony of Dr. Guest, who was a teenager, 15, 16 years old, or some other one, telling about his feeling and experience. And then to the sophisticated, higher educated. I tell you something, when we were trying to establish the Holocaust chair, and we were discussing, and I was on the committee of Dr. Goetz, and working
the UCLA
with Holocaust chair, we were emphasized that this has to be for a graduate students in history and psychology, so they have to have the at least a grade from this particular subject when they want to have a master degree or PhD or something like this, because this will give them around us more information about this particular period, but was very badly neglected in the last 35 years. Because in the public schools, I looked to the public school and I talked with the board of directors of the education board of directors, who was a woman, a colored woman, I forgot her name, and
Walters?
something like that. And I asked her, how much is in the public's referral curriculum about this period of history? She said, we have 49 books. In 17 are 3 lines about the Holocaust, and in 3 is about half a page about the Holocaust. Now, my God, about the Middle Ages, we are talking the full volumes. About modern history, there are 20 volumes. About Holocaust is only half a page. Now, this is a crime, because the period of Holocaust is so significant, not because 6 million Jews were killed, because 5 million other people were killed, because 40 million soldiers were killed and wounded, but the whole psychology, the whole system was completely turned upside down.
Yeah, we don't yet fully know what the significance is, but many of us suspect that Holocaust is the metaphor for the 20th century and into the 21st, that the time will be measured from before Auschwitz and after Auschwitz.
The tragedy is also fault of all the nations who were involved in the war. I tell you an example. After the war in Germany, was taboo to teach German kids about the Holocaust. They know nothing in the school book. The same in Japan, about the tragedy what happened in Japan. But there's also nothing happened I'm talking in general public, in the Western world. In America, France, England, anything. Nobody wants to be bothered with the Jewish Holocaust or Jewish destruction. It was a too touchy and too sensitive opinion. And the cruelty of this was the attitude of England towards the Jews and Israel just after the war. After the war. I hate maybe more Englishmen after the war than I hate the Germans for this what they did, because they didn't allow the survivors, the people who survived, to go and reunion with the family in Israel, or they didn't allow us to go and open the door. America did it, and I consider President Truman one of the greatest statesmen, because he has the wisdom. He knew that the people were afraid that the 200,000 people who he let in, the survivors, will be liability for the United States. We found out today, 35 years, that they are not liability.
Not a liability.
Contrary.
Look, I want to let
Yes.
Paul kind of calm down a little bit, fix himself a cup of coffee. Barbara brought a little cream for the coffee
And where is the coffee?
in the pitcher.
Okay. All right. Okay, let me.
Here's a
I will
little
do it.
sugar.
I will do it.
You want to put this over there?
Sure.
And this is
You
the,
know, it's a funny
this is
story.
the cream.
How long
There, it's all over
we
there.
talking?
They have cream
How
and
long
sugar
we
there.
talking? I travel quite a bit, you know, and I'm not afraid to talk, and this is my makeup. I'm never afraid. When I have to say something, I say it. Like I said, I shoot from the hip.
And it's why it's been a good marriage.
My
huh?
wife, oh, my wife is tremendous.
Because there's a nice
Oh.
balance.
She said I'm overdrawing my hands. But I figure out, look,
That's taken from
You know-
gambling.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure I'm a pretty good poker player, you know.
I think you are a good poker player.
Yeah.
That story about cleaning up the street.
Marvelous.
I
Marvelous.
haven't
It's in
even-
the book.
I didn't
I
have a
was-
choice. When they will catch me behind the door, I will be that pigeon.
Yeah.
So I figured out at
He's
least
thinking on
I
his
look
feet.
in their eyes before they kill me.
So,
See? And when you look in the eyes of a person, when you watch movies, when you will not watch movies, all the gangster movies, you will notice when they look in each other eye, then they blow the brain. When you turn at your back on your right, try to run, then they start to make the killing. And this is normal. And you like in person eyes, straight, you understand? And when I'm angry, my eyes are pretty piercing, you know? So you can stop it, and I stop it. This is true. Not because I am hero. There's no heroes today. There are no heroes at all. Everybody is a little coward. Nobody wants to die. But there are certain moments in their life, then is no choice. You have to do it, and you have to do it in best ability you can do it. That's all it is. I remember I was in Palm Springs, my first vacation in California. We went to Palm Springs to a little tiny hotel. I don't remember the name of the hotel. Now we are not going anymore to those type of hotels. And my son was about 3 years old. And he was very lively boy, you know. He was running around and jumping in the water. He was a pretty good swimmer. And I was relaxing because we put him in the bed, in the room and locked the door. And I was sitting with my wife, and I was falling asleep. Then I looked in the swimming pool. It was empty. It was very hot day, so there were not too many people. They were mostly in the rooms. I see a woman on the bottom of the 8-foot swimming pool. And for quite a long time, and I said, a second, she's maybe about a minute and a half, and I am an excellent swimmer. I can swim 50, 75 feet under the water, but I couldn't stay so long under the water. So I didn't hesitate. I jumped in the water. I pulled. She was almost drowned. So I administered the first rescue, and she came back, you know, and put her over the knees, got the water out, and but she was almost. When I wouldn't react first, another couple of seconds, or 10 seconds, 15 seconds, she will be there. But I didn't think. You see, see, because this was.
Speed of the response.
Yes, this is a. When I will think, maybe I will be.
But you see, that's the quality that somehow, from within your family, came
No,
the sense
no, may I tell you something?
of taking action, taking charge.
It has nothing to do with
It's
it.
not passive, you see.
I know,
It's
I'm never
active.
passive. I'm
where
always
did that
getting
come
involved, and this is my
Where
That's
did
the
that come
question.
from?
She's asking a very good question.
Where did that come from?
For instance, if you
I tell
think
you-
in
I
terms
tell you
of...
what-
Did that counteract your father
You see?
in some way?
May I tell you something? No, nothing to do with my father. I was living in a section of the city in Krakow, what was not a Jewish section. It was a strictly Gentile section in Podgórze, not far away from the concentration camp. And we were, you know, there are three influences on human. Home, street, and the school. Nothing else.
Physical, too.
School in around
Oh, genetics,
yes,
yeah.
you see, but the most important from all of them is the street. Here, when you have real life, you understand, and regardless of you are 3 years old or 4 or 5 or 20 or 50, the street still exists, and this is when your lesson is coming. And because I was in this area, you understand, when you have to protect yourself. Because when they beat you up and you start crying, you're sissy, and then they beat you more because this is pleasure to beat you up when you start to cry. So you have to learn how to protect yourself. So I figured out before he punched me in the nose, better I punch him first. And this was the strength and the reaction and the things are from. Listen, I was an excellent sportsman. I was a hockey player, I was a swimmer, I was ski instructor. I was the only Jewish ski instructor in a Polish ski organization, the national organization, in the rank of instructor before the war in 1936. And I was the only Jewish. When you take this book, when they think I was the only one Jew. This doesn't mean I was the racer, the best racer. This has nothing to do. I was instructor. I was a good teacher. I was teaching thousands of kids. I taught how to swim, how to ski, and how to be a good sportsman and good. See, sports. When I became a teacher, remember, in this period when I became a teacher, sport was a secondary. When you have here, you don't have here. This was the attitude. You understand? And because they didn't have here and have here, they didn't survive beyond 35 years of age. You understand? So we decide to turn this upside down, and we say, in healthy body is a healthy spirit, healthy mind. In a sick body, and this motto came not from me, because I studied Professor Link, Professor Dr. Link, Professor of Anatomy and Swedish in Stockholm University, who developed a special physical method, the Swedish gymnastic, the calisthenics. This is what he developed. And he was born a cripple. He was born a cripple. He became MD and became a professor of anatomy at the Stockholm University at the end of the last century. And he decided to do something with his, as a professor in anatomy, he knew how the machinery, how the works. He developed a special type of exercises, and my master degree is around this particular subject. And he developed the Swedish gymnastic, because there were many methods going up from century, like German, but this was heavy stuff on the instruments. He developed a gracious type of exercise, and he used it himself. He overcome his crippleness. We call this today physical therapy, simple like this. You understand what I mean? And this is what we decide. So, in Poland,
Do you think that's what you would have been? Would you have gone
No, I will
back
go
into
to
medicine?
No, I will go to medicine. When I discussed with my mother-in-law, who was a very famous doctor, she has 2 doctor's degrees, one from Kiev University and then from Sorbonne. She was the woman who established in Poland the first cosmetic school, teaching the improvement of the skin and the cosmetic and things like that. And she was a close friend with Helen Rubinstein, because Helen Rubinstein was MD too, not practicing doctor, but she finished together the same. And
Have a little course.
yeah,
Have a little course.
the Helen Rubinstein went in a business. My mother-in-law went to Poland and became a highly professional doctor, skin specialist and venerology. They were the 2. So she always say, Paul, when we go through the life, I will work and you go to study. I think I will be good.
You mentioned,
That's
for
an
instance.
interesting mother-in-law, huh?
Yeah.
So you lost your family and you lost Mila's family. They become your
Right.
family, didn't
You
they?
became your family, that's true.
So you have what to grieve there.
You mentioned that you were connected with Maccabi. How active were you in Maccabi?
I was. Very good question. Very interesting. in the age of 5, I became a member of group Sokol. I don't know, you know what this means? Sokol translated means eagle.
Eagle?
Eagle.
Uh-huh.
This was a very famous Slavic, existing even today, sports gymnastic organization, but specializing mostly in a German type of gymnastic, but you see it here in Olympic, and the bars, and the double bars, and the rings.
Yeah.
I became one of the youngest member of this group because it was not far away where I live, and I became an excellent gymnast. This is the reason why give me idea later on to go to the medical school in physical education, because I was a good sportsman. In this time when I was in high school, I joined all the group of sports. Swimming, our high school has the best water polo team, but I was playing in it. We have the best skiing team, but because I believe we have snow since November till sometimes in May, in this, because I was not far from the mountain, Krakow, yes, Zakopane and things like that. And now, when I became more active in sport, I joined Maccabi. Maybe I was about 13, 14 years of age. So I was in the teams of water polo. I was in the team hockey, because I love hockey. And I was a goalie. I have a few cuts here, a couple cuts on the mouth, but it was good.
Terrible.
Terrible. Oh, it's beautiful sport.
Terrible.
Yes, beautiful. Every sport is beautiful, remember.
It's vicious.
But you know, in a way, that was a kind of preparation
Of
for
course.
being able to go through and
exactly.
not expect any
But
charity.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to ask another question. You see, a lot of the, for instance, something like Maccabi was more than just a sports organization.
Oh no,
It
this is
was
much more
always
than
a
this
big
was,
youth organization.
this was a
And
very
it had an ideology,
Zionistic,
Zionist and
Zionist,
ideology.
exactly.
And what I'm trying to understand is that during the years of, say, the ghetto, were you still in contact with your friends from Maccabi?
Yes, we were in contact. There was a little group of underground in ghetto, but I didn't participate in this group because this was a more. They were also members of Maccabi, but they belonged to organization like Bund organization, and I never belonged to any left inclined organization. Remember that in this time, the Jews, particularly in Europe, were very much influenced by the communist ideology. Not what was in Russia. What was in Russia that was not a communist.
It's a dream.
No. Yeah, let me analyze this little thing. What happened in Russia with the communists, you understand, they became a red fascist. But really the communists, according to the Karl Marx book, is a utopia. Creating. This utopia was created in Israel. In the beginning, when the emigration started in the late 20s and early 30s, and the people went to the kibbutzim, this was a pure type of communism, sharing, working, and living together for the benefit of all concerned. Simple. And it was a beautiful book written before the war by Dr. Pomerantz, who said, and the title is The Third Jerusalem, that is a perfect future destiny of humanity when they want to survive, to go to this type of work. But in Poland, they were organizations that were inclined.
Let's move into the circle of this. Go around that one.
You know, they were lots of my friends joined the communist groups. Now in Poland in this time, the communist group were outlawed. Some of them got in jail, some of them they ran away to France, but was also communistically inclined, or even went to Italy and study over there. Some of them stay and exist. And lots of those people, the ideology and the togetherness of those people was much stronger than the sports organization like Maccabi. And when the cataclysm come, they were stick together and they created the
That's what I'm
nucleus of
asking
under.
about.
I know, the underground. Maccabi as a sports organization didn't get involved. Too bad, but didn't get involved the way they eventually should do. But as an excuse only, as an excuse. Really and truly, from 1939 till 1943 or 42, I will start 42, we didn't believe it, that this what happened till 1945 will happen. And when somebody will tell me, and I was more aware as a soldier, as an officer, as a person who was involved in Jewish life before the war, and knew what happened in Germany from the stories what came over, and I saw it with open eyes what was going with the ghetto when they closed us and they was grabbing people on the street and they disappeared and they were arrested. I was on the list of 1,000 intellectuals to be taken to Auschwitz. I escaped in the ghetto and I was hiding for 3 days till we just calm out. I was, in the book is written, you see, there was a very famous list of 1,000 intellectuals. I maybe one to survive, I don't know how many escaped, but I survived. You see, because the people who came to pick me up were my friends, say, you run. They were all there. They said, run. So I ran. And they will be not friends, they will take me in, probably I will wind up in Auschwitz.
I'd like to take a little different slant. I want you to have a drink. I want you to take a deep breath.
I'm used to
You know,
talk.
it's pretty intense, I know.
Yes, it's
and I'm
emotional,
concerned
too.
because you live in a very intense way.
Yes, I always do.
Yeah.
See, my wife calls
Do
me
you
the Namo.
do you exercise today? Do you do
Very
any
little,
running?
very little. I'm running so much all day long
Yeah,
that
but-
I don't need
but
any.
Paul-
I eat too much. This is the
Well,
worst thing.
yeah, but you see, you are a type A personality, and part of it comes from what we call a character armor, almost, that evolves under the kind of stress that you have had in your life. And you know, I don't have any statistics on this, but you know that the survivor men have been dying off with heart disease. I want you to think about that a little. Because of the intensity, because of maybe the starvation, because of some, we believe there's some emotional factors in
Yes.
it,
Continuous
you know?
trauma continues.
Oh, yeah, right, because it can't be, you have to consciously allow yourself a relaxation. And
I
for
tell you-
you who was an athlete, it may be important to gradually bring yourself back into some physical
I answer you a
activity.
very simple way.
Work is not enough.
And I tell you a very simple time. There are people who know how to relax even when they close one eye.
Are you one?
I am one.
How do you do
I can
this?
fall asleep anytime I want it. You understand? Even I told him I didn't sleep well because I got woke up by my daughter who called me about 1 o'clock in the morning and she's home, you know. And then because I knew that I'm coming here today, but I fell asleep and I got up about 7:30, 6, quarter to 6 I got up. You understand? But I know how to put me on the cycle. When I go full gear. And I want to slow down, I slow down.
You're able to shut it down.
I can read, I can
Have you been
eliminate myself, I can play cards, I can forget about the whole world
Ha-
around me.
Have you been able to cry? Because we have plenty here to cry about.
Yes,
Have you been able to cry?
yes, I do. I'm emotional. I'm emotional. I can very easily cry.
And it doesn't frighten Mila, she doesn't stop you.
Hmm.
She understands.
It happened to me when Thomas Kennedy was here, and we have a fair in the temple. I don't know whether there was about 1,000 people, and I was talking about children, and I said, thanks to him, my wife survived, and now I have a son and a daughter and a granddaughter. Big guy broke down.
It's appropriate. It's appropriate. All right, I just wanted to check that out. I don't know, because you're so used to talking, this whole, this preparation and being here today may not be as distressing for you. But I'm going to give you a call later in the week and see how you're doing.
May I tell you something? You're right, because I talk about this, but emotionally you always is taken a little bit away from it. It's normal. Because, okay, we didn't go deeper in the killing or personal experience. But I tell you something. I was whipped 3 times. They were. I didn't talk about this because then I have to tell the reason why we got beat up.
Yeah.
Now, first time I got 15 on the back. In the garage, we were fixing cars for the Gestapo. They went on a patrol, and one of the wheel fell off, and almost the officers in the car was not killed. Now, normally when they will not need us, and there were about 10 people working in the garage, they will execute us immediately. But they didn't have replacement. They didn't have the welders, they didn't have the mechanics, and they need the garage to go on. So what they did, they investigate, and we got 15 on the back. This was the first time. The second time was a little bit more dangerous. The commandant was passing I won't get, you probably remember, passing by, and the friend of mine, one excellent sportsman, his sister-in-law was cleaning the windows of the car. They didn't like it. They came in. They killed her, and everybody of us got 25 lashes on the back. They didn't kill us. They need the garage. The third time, I was sent to buy supplies to the garage, and in the same time to bring clothing for the factories that were inside the camp to repair. So we went to the army depot and we loaded the car with all the uniforms and everything, and we are coming to the camp. And the other 2 people from this other department, Jews, put food inside the car, eggs, sausage, and they were smuggling. Didn't tell me anything about this, and I didn't know about this. When we came inside the camp, the guard of the car started talking to this friend of mine. You didn't pay me enough money. You didn't pay me enough money. And when you don't pay me more, I will tell them that you're smuggling the eggs and sausages and butter to the camp. And this was penalty of that. There was no question about it. I said, what the hell are you making a deal and you not paying him what you promised? If we pay him now, he wants more. Give him everything, other way you're dead. But they handled these things. I didn't get involved. We came in the camp about 4 o'clock, about 6 o'clock, they calling all of us, the 3 of us, to go to the commandant. Lucky break, the commandant was not there. He will be there, there will be no return. And the assessment who was in charge, I was teaching him to drive the car in the camp. So he looks at me and say, how about you go and bring me the gun? I said, assessment is sending me to the guard to bring the gun? So he said to go, I go. So I'm going to the guardhouse to bring the gun. They wouldn't give it to me, The in charge, the officer in the same rank in charge said, tell Anton that he got a very good news from home, that his home was bombed, but the family is okay. And he don't need any gun. So I went back and I report to this Anton Huyer, this was his name, that his house was bombed, but nothing happened, the family is okay. So I said, oh, this is a good news, wonderful. Then I don't kill you all, but I give you a licking. Now, who is the first one who will submit to whipping? So I figured out, because I brought the good news, and I will be the first one, then he will not whip me too much. This son of a gun took his right punch, not with a thin piece of leather, with a handle. Hit me only 5 times over the back and dislocated my back. And I was so painful that I was yelling in Polish. The most dirty words I could even come to my mind, I was yelling at him. He didn't understand what I was talking about. I was screaming at the son of a bitch, this son of a bitch, the son of a bitch. Then he beat the other two
That's
people.
a
They all
central
are
nervous
they all
system
alive.
injury.
Munde Korn is in a book. He's living in Australia, and the Pamper just died not long ago in Hamburg. So this was the 3 times when I got little, but that was a lucky break because I couldn't get killed.
You know, a few times now you've mentioned people who've died since.
What?
You've mentioned a few people who've died the last few
Yes.
years. How are you handling that?
It's very hard because we were very all close. You see, you know them personally. You went through them so many things. I give you the biggest, what hurt me the hardest. I have a friend, Dr. Joe Horn. He was attorney in Vienna. There was the little fellow who was behind me when I disarmed the commandant, you know, and he lived in Vienna. We came with Misha in Vienna, and we found out that, and we were going to Israel, that we cannot catch the plane to Israel. We have to stay in Vienna over the night for the next day plane. So I called his home, and I talked with his wife, who was also with us in a concentration camp. And she said, Paul, where are you? I said, I'm in Vienna. I just came from the funeral. Usual, because this way we were going. Joe just was buried today. It was the hardest thing what hit me the most. And last week I just got that telephone from Israel that Dr. Biederman just died. He was here too. He has 2 children here in Los Angeles. He died in Israel.
How old now?
He was 1 year, no, he was 3 years younger than I, so he was 67.
Too young.
Sure, too young.
Too young.
Sure, too young. I remember him, his first date with his wife, that I just called, because I have a date with a good friend of mine in the same, they went on honeymoon in the same hotel I was with my girlfriend on ski. You know, and then after the war we went through Brindis to Prague, and I helped them to go through the border to Munich and things like that. It's very hard when your close friend like this died. This is a lie you can have.
You were saying to me Friday about your children and how they handle all this. That they're used to hearing it from you and they're comfortable. Your children.
Yeah.
That they're comfortable
No.
hearing.
No, my children knew everything from the beginning, and because we always told them, and we consider it the utmost important. And funny story, when during the Pesach, instead to tell them about the Jews going out from Egypt, I was always referring to the situation in the Holocaust, and I was giving them the whole story about the Holocaust. Now, they met Oskar Schindler twice because I invited him twice here to United States, to Beverly Hills, so he knew. And I found that the most funniest happened to me. Marie was about 16 years or 15 years old when I took her the first time to Israel. And we are on the bus. We're coming to Yad Vashem, and the guide say, now we are coming to the very famous Garden of Righteous People who are distinguishing themselves by saving Jewish life during the Holocaust. And the most distinguished from all of them is a German Catholic, Oskar Schindler. And my daughter said, this is my uncle.
So she felt that closeness.
And everybody on the bus started looking at me. I have to tell them the whole story what has happened. From the pictures you see that the tree, when he was planted in Yad Vashem, when the Yad Vashem didn't exist yet. There was only a plant, and they started to plant
So
it.
he was one of the first.
The third tree was planted in Yad Vashem, was his tree planted. They were, when you know, to get the righteous statute, you understand what I mean? You have to go through the court. And you
I
have
understand.
Oh, Moshe basically is now the director of this particular court. So they were voices of some people who survived at camp, that Schindler did this for money, that Schindler even was instrumental of beating certain peoples there, you know. So when this came to the court, I wasn't there because I have other reason to tell the court that they were wrong. Those people who were claiming the so Dr. Moshe Landau, who was the Supreme Court Justice, was in charge of this particular court in this particular time. Now is Dr. Moshe Beisky, who is survivor of Schindler. He's a Supreme Court Justice now. So they were questioning what happened. So these people testified that Schindler beat him up and they were taking money from some of them. It's not a water true. From the 1,300 over people, I don't know one who gave him any money ever. But I know one thing, that in the last 6 months or 8 months, from November 44 to the liberation, he spent 4 million marks of his own money, what was equivalent of $2 million. And he has to pay for bribes, for food, for medication, for delivery the goods. We were not producing one bullet, but he has to deliver the finished product. So he was going to the German who producing the same type of caliber and buy them. Now, the reason that those people complain, I knew from Schindler, and I knew, see, they were the previous owner of this Emalia factory. After the war, the German government was paying restitution for requisition of properties, you know? So they were demanding from Schindler to testify in German court that he was not, that he didn't buy it, that he stole it, that he got it, he took over. And this was not true, because the purchase of this Emalia factory in Krakow, who was bankrupt in 1936 before the war, this means, you know, the people who owned this place stole money from other people, simple. When they went bankrupt in Poland in these days, there was a very bad things, not like here. Now there's a very nice, honorable things to go bankrupt when you have no money to pay it. And this was not so much honorable. There was a thievery. Legal or illegal, was still stealing money from somebody else. They were in bankruptcy from 1936. And Oscar in 1941 purchased and paid $50,000 money for it. So he said, I will never go and testify in court that I took it, I paid it, was mine, I bought legally, and it's in the books in Krakow in the court. And the papers never were destroyed. It's there, it's everything there. And they were very angry, so they figured out that they will spoil his righteous status, but they didn't, because all the things came out, and here, see, this righteous status. And he was the most honored person by the government, because in 1973, he and I, we were invited to Jerusalem for the 25th anniversary. I didn't have a place to sleep because I came from Rome for only 2 nights for this particular. I want to see him, so I went there too. And we were sitting in a VIP over there during the parade, and we were talking, and then I went to his hotel room, and we were boozing the whole night. So I asked him, tell me please, Oscar, what you would like to, you have, and I was working with Yad Vashem, going to Poland, bringing some books, you know, and documents, you know, not especially, but I was going there. I was there, and the university and all those places, they know me very well. When I need something, I got from them, and I brought in our library here. I brought, remember, hundreds of books I brought in from Poland, important book, because I didn't bring books that are telling only the story, documented by Polish research and universities, but are important and very essential. And the same books I sent to Yad Vashem. He said, Paul, when I die, all my papers will go to Yad Vashem, all my documents and everything to Yad Vashem, and they are in Yad Vashem. But I would like to bury in Jerusalem. I said, you crazy? Who will bury an ex-Nazi in Jerusalem? You have to have a head examined. But next day I called Moshe Beisky and all these Schindler Jews who were in charge over there, and I discussed this with them, and I said, listen, this is a wish what Schindler expressed, and when it's possible, I hope he will live a long life. But a year and a half later, he died on a heart attack. He was a very sick man.
How old was he?
He was 60. He was born in 908 and died in 74. So he was 64 years old. But I want to point it out. The minute he died, a week later, a group of Schindler Jews, with permission of Israeli government and German government, went to Frankfurt, dig out the body, take the body with them to Jerusalem, and he was buried with military honor over there. And it's a film made by the Israeli television station, but it's in Yad Vashem. I viewed it and I saw it, and it's magnificent. You see a big cross and lots of Jews and rabbis going behind this coffin, maybe 400 or 500 people, and he's buried. They bought a piece on Catholic cemetery on the Mount Zion, and it's a tremendous plaque over there erected. I have a picture of it. That a man who saved, they put 1,200 Jews. They make mistake because they were over 1,300 Jews saved, and it is there. And all the papers, everything are in Yad Vashem. It's a special room. When you ever been there and you want to see it, they have magnificent information there.
Well, you're wearing something in your lapel.
Oh, this is a very high honor. I'm a commissioner for Boy Scouts of America. And being a commissioner, I was involved in educating the children, bringing program and improving the teaching ways and things like this. So I became a school night for scouting chairman for the Los Angeles Council. And thanks to my system or method or ideas, put it this way, instead to get like 20, 30 new scouts, we got 1,500 for the council. Tremendous way. I changed completely the whole system of getting to schools and getting the boys for scouting. Completely. They're using now all nationally, the same way. Like I am. Before they have only one day in September when the school opened, 2 hours school night for scouting across the country. Now they have a school night for scouting almost every month, going from school to school by special teams, by special group. And
So you have been involved in a lot of voluntary.
oh yes, I'm paying dues to the society.
Yeah.
I'm involved in Chamber of Commerce, I'm involved in Boy Scouts of America till today, in the Jewish Committee I'm involved in 1939. This is my closest to my heart.
Any political activities?
Politically, I
directly?
am Democrat. Sometimes I vote Republican, and sometimes I regret what I did.
I think all of us have regretted what we've done, our votes in the past few
Yes.
years.
You know, it's a strange situation in this country. You have so many really brilliant people here, people who can really lead this country in a magnificent direction. Really, the sky is the limit. And somehow we're getting somebody what is dragging the eagle down to the gather.
The whole electoral system, is so
Bad.
Well,
I never
this,
saw.
by the way, is what you missed on Sunday at the anti-Semitism meeting. At the very end, there's a little woman who insisted on being heard. And Vidal Sassoon had run out of time and so on. But his assistant, I guess, had realized that she did need to say what she
Well,
was saying.
she had harassed us before the whole thing
Yeah, she
began.
was campaigning before.
Oh.
And she apparently, there is some Christian preacher on Channel 56 preaching anti-Semitism. And she's here from Holland 2 years, she said. She's a survivor of Auschwitz. And she said, even in Holland, which is a highly democratic country, this man would not be permitted to preach such a venom, you know. So,
Man,
But
this is
here's
the
our
beauty
system.
of a free country. You know, I went in Poland, and I have a very good friend. I have many friends in the university, but this was really my pal from the childhood. He was in charge of a big department store. You have to be in a party to have this position. This does mean that he believed it in the system, but to have this position, you have to have the document.
Membership.
You understand what I mean? So when he came to my hotel room, he said to me, Paul, how are you? How are you doing? Oh, you look so good. And he was holding his finger in the front of his mouth that I shouldn't make any remarks what could be hurt or bad. Then we went outside the street and we were looking for a street that we could walk, not on the sidewalk, you know, like open. Yeah. So we were talking. I said, you know, I'm telling you, I'm surprised that you're sitting here. You have a way. Your sister is in Frankfurt. Why you don't try to get out? No, I can. I have a son who doesn't even know that I'm Jewish, and I have a wife who is not Jewish, but she knew that I'm Jewish. But my son is 21 years. He doesn't know that I'm Jewish, and I have plenty against him. That he never told his son, who is now about 30 years old, that he is Jewish. Anyway, I said, you see, in America, I can, and Nixon was a president this time, I said, I can get out outside on the street, put a flag, and say, to hell with Nixon. What he can do to me? I said, he can only go to court and sue me for insult, and I can prove it that to hell with him, he is lousy president. You understand what I mean? He said, I can do the same. I can put a Polish flag and say, to hell with Nixon too.
Maybe we ought to pull this to a close. I think
Okay.
Barbara is waiting to see you.